Michael, back here. Happy day to all of you. I'm excited to do another in the series of discussions of my books. We're up to the seventh or eighth one, depending on whether you count the Corey prescription that I wrote. This one is Critical Judgment, and I want to remind you that during the course of talking about it, I'll not only ask a question, but I'll give you the answer to the question. And if you can remember it, please enter the contest to win a copy of the manuscript of the Corey prescription. Never published in English, the first thing I ever wrote before I ever even dreamed of being published. So you'll get a little bit of insight into what I was like back there in the late 70s, which is when I first started writing. So I'm also excited that today I am now 25 pages away from the end of the I've actually written 25, so in theory I'm done, but they need a lot of rewriting, and that's what I'm doing right now. I expect to be done by the end of the weekend, and then I'll read the book over aloud, and then by next Thursday, the book will be in New York with my editor, and I'll start thinking that at least for the moment, I might be done. So that's exciting. This is a fun book that I want to talk about, Critical Judgment. It's unusual for me in that it takes place in Northern California. There are a lot of reasons for this. In a town called Patience, California, which I made up, but I would remember that name if I were you, because that's the question for the day. What the town is in Northern California. The book was based on a couple of events that happened some years ago, which really frightened and interested me. In one of them, somebody walked into a McDonald's in San Diego and started shooting and shot about 16 people to death. And not long after that, in Northern California, a gunman opened fire on a playground and killed some children. And those stories were beyond my understanding. I couldn't grasp it. And I started wondering if maybe what would have happened if these people were poisoned, and that's why they were insane. And if at one kind of frangible moment, the these two people and maybe some other people were exposed to a toxin, and then each of the people goes off on their way in their life, but they now have a time bomb within their brain that is in danger of setting them off to become pathological killers, rage reactions, whatever. So I decided I wanted to write an ecological thriller that centered around some kind of a contaminant that caused people to have personality changes. And that was the way the book began to evolve, which I ended up calling, after a huge battle. I don't know if I liked the title then. I don't know if I like it now, but called Critical Judgment. And the heroine of this book is a wonderful character, Abby Dalton, and she is an ER doc, very happy with her life in San Francisco. She has a great job. She has a great future. But what she also has is a fiance who is kind of an underachiever, a businessman who's never been able to find himself. And all of a sudden, he gets a job offer from, of all places, Patience, California, and decides to go up there because at the moment he doesn't have any other prospects. And Abby is faced with a major decision, and that is whether her relationship is worth following this man up to California and Northern California, and she does. She chooses to go to Patience and take a job in the ER in that town, in that hospital, not knowing that her fiance has already been exposed to a environmental toxin and is already undergoing personality changes like many of the others in in the community. And I won't go into what the toxin is or where it's coming from because that's a lot of the story. But um, there's a lot of adventure. There's a lot of stuff going on in that book, and Abby is a great character. I'll tell you just one quick thing about her, and that is that she's constantly battling kind of a junk food addiction. She loves comfort food, and I once wrote when I was writing one of the drafts that um, she carries Twinkies in the glove compartment of her car. That the 10 pounds between 130 and 140 had become a battleground. And my editor immediately jumped on that sentence and circled it and read and said, Michael, never put the weight of your character on the page. Half of your readers will think she's fat, and the other half of your readers will think they're fat. So she changed the sentence for me to read the 10 pounds between her clothes fitting and feeling tight had become a battleground. And of course, everybody who read it thought I was this brilliant author with so much insight into women. And I'm here to tell you I have no insight into women, and it was my editor who made that sentence up. So that's the book, Critical Judgment. I hope you pick up a copy. It's still in print. It's in its could be in its 30th printing now, as are a lot of my books. All my books are they're still in print, and I think you'll like this one a lot. So for now, thanks. Be well. Remember the question, and I'll be back in a week or two. Bye bye.